Thanks, Gleb. Really appreciate it. Hi, folks. So today we'll be talking a little bit about ETL versus ELT for the data pipelines. And um, just to start things off, I want to introduce myself. My name is Gary Sahota. I run the analytics team here at Clary. And for those who don't know, Clary is a revenue operations platform, effectively leveraging the data within your CRM, calendar, and emails to really help salespeople sell better and understand all the deals that they have currently going on in their pipelines. Prior to Clary, I joined about a year ago as their founding analyst, but prior to that, I've been at companies like Citus Data, which is a Postgres company acquired by Microsoft, Jasper Wireless, which was an IoT company acquired by Cisco, and I've been a California native my entire life. And so to really set the stage for a second, what I do at the company, when I joined, we were running out of Excel files and intuition, and so I came in and really did three things. I automated and consolidated Clary's data into a single source of truth, aka a data warehouse, standardized the metrics-oriented teams on a single point of view, aka consolidating KPIs and just really defining what those even need to look like and monitoring how we grow against them. And then also really pushing Clarians at the company to make decisions with data. Right. Prior to this, we were I think a Series D company when I joined, and a lot of things were just done on the fly with intuition, and there was no data to back any decisions we made. And so now we can make decisions more confidently, just given the data stack that I built out. And so, quick overview of my architecture. We had nothing when I joined. Went back, consolidated all the different business apps. Right now I use Fivetran for my ELT process, both for extracting the data into my Snowflake data warehouse, but also using it to orchestrate my DBT models, for the transformation within there as well. And then I use BI, my BI tool of choice is Tableau. Been a certified admin for quite some time, and really kept the stack simple. I'm a one-man army, and I've had to build this out from the ground up. And so we wanted to keep things as simple and as easy as possible for folks to use. But now, going into when I was considering what to buy for the the data pipeline part of my stack, there were so many different vendors. I really didn't know what to choose or where to really spend my time, and so I wanted to understand. Okay, well, what's the difference? Like, I see all of these. There's hundreds of others. So many others that were even name dropped today. What do they really stand and what do they really do and how are they different? And so there's a clear distinction between ETL and ELT. And while some of you guys might know that, I wanted to talk about some of the pros and cons about each of them and the differences that these two approaches take. So to start things off, ETL, which is probably the most common nomenclature and one of the more traditional ways of data pipelines, really stands for extract, transform, load, meaning that data that you have from different sources first gets sent through a series of transformations, whether it's blending, whether it's aggregating, whether it's cleaning, and then only the output of these transformations gets stored in your data warehouse, which then you can use in your BI tools. Now, that's great. This is something that we've been doing for quite some time, and it is pretty much an industry norm, especially at larger enterprises like Cisco and Microsoft. But a new trend that probably came around for like the last 4 or 5 years is around ELT. And what that means is that the data actually comes in, gets loaded into the warehouse first raw, and then the transformations are done either in that data lake layer or in the data warehouse layer, depending on what tool you're using. And then the transformations are stored alongside the raw data so that you have access to both, and then leverage whatever you need in the BI tool as you see fit. And there's pros and cons to both approaches, but really the fundamental difference is really when that transformation happens and if you have access to the raw data or not, in perpetuity. And so I was talking to my CTO / co-founder. We really tried to weigh out the pros and cons, and this is a quick matrix, and I thought I'd share this today to see if this would help anybody else. I mean, with ETL, the data's clean. The data, there's less data actually being loaded, so the storage costs are a lot lower as well. And it is InfoSec and cost friendly because InfoSec, for those teams who have it, is always trying to find ways to really focus on covering our own butts. And so we wanted to make sure that with the sensitive data that we have access to, that nothing is stored that shouldn't be stored in a data warehouse that other people might have access to. And given the type of data that we deal with, that could lead to a whole host of things from insider trading to a lot of other things as well. And so our InfoSec team was very, very pro ETL because it meant that only the data we needed was the data that got stored. But at the same time, there's a high maintenance cost and an upfront cost of getting those pipelines set up. And the pipelines are very rigid as well, because any changes you make in the schema of the source data, or any changes you want to make to your BI reports, require you to go back into the pipeline, modify what you're taking and those transformations, and then have that data reloaded into the warehouse for the BI to then consume. And so what I proposed was, let's go the ELT approach, because not only do I have access to the clean data and the transforms that I want to do, but I also have access to the raw data. And there's an undeniable lower maintenance upfront with ELT, because all it does is it just takes the data, gives it access to you, to the raw data to you immediately, and it builds a kind of a future-proof model where you might not even have to scope out exactly what you want to do with the data right now. You can spend the time and energy to really just focus on the analytics now that you need to, and then have access to the raw data so you can continue to iterate and build on top of that as well. The issue, though, at the same time that that my team called out, was that there's a lot of dirty data. I mean, it's raw data, so you're going to have to transform it. You're going to have to massage it to really get it to where you want. And sometimes the volume, especially for a company like Clary, who didn't have an analytics team prior to this, was daunting, right? It was something that they were just like, well, I don't know if we want to put all our eggs in one basket. I don't know if that's really what we need, and I don't even know if we can do that, given some of the contracts that we have with our customers and the data that we'd be trying to leverage. And so there was a lot of complexities on that we had to get past, but ultimately, which do you choose? For me, I chose Fivetran, and the reason I did so was because of its easy to use nature. I swear I'm not being paid by Fivetran to say that, but at the same time, what I recommend to everyone is it depends. Pick what you feel is the best for you. Pick what you feel is going to be the best for your needs, but really weigh out the pros and cons before you do so. And follow me on LinkedIn. I do talk a lot about data and data quality, but happy to chat more with anyone if they feel like they want to.